Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've got a hopefully pretty important video today for you guys. I'm going to be showing you how to build a V6 new edge drift car. So yeah, guys, let's get right into it. First off, I wanted to thank one of my subscribers, Jaden Rain, for recommending the idea to do this video. Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't done it up till this point, but yeah, thank you again, Jaden, for kind of putting this on. But yeah, I guess I can tell you a little bit about who I am, why I'm even qualified to tell you this. My name is Hoise. I own the company HLE Racing. It's obviously, the YouTube channel, but it's also kind of my brand. I wish I was wearing the shirt right now, but yeah, just kind of been drifting for a couple of years now. All the years that I have been drifting have all been under the New Edge platform. I had a car before this one. This one's name is Ratchet. Before this one, I had a car named Maria. Whoa, look at the butterfly. ADHD is an issue, guys. But yeah, all my drifting experience has been under the New Edge platform, and all of it under a V6. So my first one that I had bought, Maria, I actually built her over the course of about 2 years, and I kind of was able to experience the mods along the way that kind of changed the way the car felt. And now in hindsight, I'm excited to be able to tell you guys the things that kind of worked for me, things that were necessary in the end, and things that were kind of unnecessary and, took money and time away from getting the car to where it really needed to be. So with all that said, let's get right into it. Now, I've kind of divided this list into two categories. The ones are going to be the things that are necessary for your first drift event. The things that are going to be, I'd say, the bare minimum for being able to learn how to drift without really fighting yourself and the car to be able to do so. You really want to kind of facilitate an environment within the car that is constant and repeatable, so that the only variable is really yourself and your driving and your improvement in said driving. So basically, like I said, these first couple of mods are going to be the things that I suggest are the bare minimum to go to an event, and then we'll worry about the creature comforts. Yeah. All right, guys, step one. Step one, I would say the very first thing you need to do on the car, and unfortunately it's going to be kind of costly, is coilovers. Coilovers, as opposed to your stock suspension, are going to completely change the ride and feel of the car, and it's going to make transitions, entries, initiations, all of that much more predictable. It's going to just tighten up the suspension, eliminate a lot of body roll, which these cars are monster trucks from the factory, and that sway that you get in the stock suspension is going to completely load up one side of the car as opposed to the other. It's going to make you spin, which these cars don't have much angle, which we'll get to later. So it's just, the stock suspension really works to this car's detriment. So like I said, step one, coilovers. The company I would recommend, BC Racing, to be honest. Their BR series, I believe, is what's in this car right now. I had custom ones made for Maria back when I had her, and I've got those. They're just for, another car that I'm going to do in the future. But yeah, BC Racing. I mean, if you're willing to spend a little bit more money and you're going to get pretty serious with the car, I'd say go with Feel suspension. But yeah, it's pretty simple, guys. Coilovers, get them, put them on. They're also going to allow you to familiarize yourself with your car, to be able to, remove the brakes, all that system, all the suspension, and be able to replace that. So yeah, guys, step one, coilovers, do it. Alrighty, step two. The very next thing, and by the way, the mods that I'm listing here, I would say do them in this order, just for the sake of enjoying the car and kind of being able to progress little bits as you do the mods. So yeah, number two, weld the diff, okay? These V6 Mustangs come with a 7.5 open differential, which means you're only really putting power to one wheel, at least whenever you break traction. If at any point you try to do like a little U-turn or something by kicking the clutch, I'm sure you've realized that it'll just basically kick one wheel out, not really the other. And if you try and do like a transfer, if you happen to get it to drift and you try and transfer, a lot of times it'll grip up on you. or it'll just be unpredictable and it'll over-rotate. It's just not fun trying to drift an open differential. I would say it's almost impossible, but not impossible. So yeah, find a shop that'll weld it for you. A lot of exhaust shops do a lot of fabrication and stuff like that, so they'll a lot of times be willing to do small, welding jobs like welding the diff. One thing I really want to make a point of is when you get the diff welded, make sure that you put the plate in the differential as opposed to doing it without a plate. I don't want to get into the specifics of explaining all that. Just look up a couple videos of like welding the diff, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just make sure you get them to put that plate in there as opposed to just welding the spider gears together, because that can come apart and grenade and just blow your diff up mid-drift, and that's no fun. So yeah, another thing that I want to make a point of is a mistake that I made that if I could do it again I wouldn't do, which was I swapped my 7.5 rear end in my other car for the 8.8 so that I could do a limited slip differential, thinking that that would be better than just welding the diff. And honestly, I dealt with a lot of slipping issues. Even with an aftermarket clutch pack in the rear end, I had issues with the rear end coming loose, like left to right side, and it just wasn't worth the headache. After I bought this car, it came with a welded diff, and I've been in love with it. So honestly, that's one thing, if I could go back and do differently, I would just weld it, keep it simple. So yeah guys, step 2, weld your diff, do it. Alrighty guys, step 3. Step 3 is going to be a racing seat. A lot of people, I think, myself included, leave this kind of for last, thinking that it's kind of a comfort thing, and I completely disagree now in hindsight. I would say it's essential, and I'll explain why. For one, racing seats add bolstering. Bolstering is the ridges here on seats that basically keep you from going kind of left to right. Most stock seats don't really have bolstering in the front that stops you from going forward. Also, stock seats recline, which means they're not as rigid front to back. As you can see, I mean, this moves a little bit just because this car's ratchet, but they're not supposed to move whatsoever, and they're fixed in terms of reclinability. You can't really move these. They give you a good like driving position, kind of more straight up as opposed to leaned back or too far forward, if for any reason you would end up doing that. But yeah, the point is, a racing seat locks you into the car. It makes you and the car one thing, and I would say that is the most important thing to be able to drive, and not only drive but to improve your driving. If you can't feel the car, you don't know what's going on, and there's no way for you to adjust for what's going on and become a better driver. So yeah, racing seat is going to be the final essential item. Get you a racing seat. You don't even have to worry about the harnesses. We'll talk about that in a second, but you can use the stock seatbelt with a racing seat, and just get you a seat. A good seat for the New Edge Mustang is the Corbo Forza and Forza Wide series. What else? Oh, and of course, I just want to include the fact that you need to get a bracket. You can't run a racing seat on a stock seat bracket. You got to buy the Corbo bracket as well. And by the way, just a quick side note, a great place to buy a lot of this stuff is AmericanMuscle.com. The prices are fine. This isn't like a paid endorsement or anything. It's just where I've bought a lot of the stuff. Who else has a lot of Mustang stuff? LMR for like OEM replacement stuff is a good place. Yeah, I think that's it for step 3. So yeah guys, at this point, you've got those 3 mods: the coilovers, welded differential, and a racing seat. I'd say you are ready and well prepared to go to your first drift event. So at this point, like I said, I would highly recommend going to your first event at this point and just get seat time. The one thing I've learned through drifting as well is that seat time is everything. Yes, your car might be fighting you a little bit, but I promise you, working through a car that's fighting you and being able to overcome that is going to benefit you way more than not driving a car because it's fighting you. Mind you, if it's dangerous and the car is very unpredictable to the point where you feel you may not be able to control it, of course, I'd recommend use your judgment, do what you feel is right. Don't take a car to an event that you know you're just going to throw into a wall. But don't be afraid to take risks. Drifting is scary. That's why you do it. But yeah, at this point, let's get into the unnecessary but nice stuff that give you the sauce, at least on these cars. Alrighty guys, I've got my little notepad here so that I don't forget stuff. we're gonna kind of run through this last part because I want to get you guys home. I know we're all tired. So step one for extra stuff, honestly, is bolt-ons. Go ahead and throw a cold air intake on this thing, a catback exhaust, a mid-pipe, set of headers. All those are going to greatly improve the way that the car responds under throttle, and yeah, just give you that kind of extra little bit of power up top too, to be able to just sit on limiter and not have the engine kind of struggling for air. But yeah, guys, up next, I would say an angle kit is definitely going to be, you know, a fun addition to the car. I mean, it's going to be the difference between you having like 10 to 20 degrees of angle in this thing and having like 40 to 60. The company that I would recommend is Scotty D Race Development. They're the kit that I'm running on, well, my last car. Technically, this car isn't running the Scotty D kit, but I don't know what kit this car is running because I bought it not really knowing, and there's no branding on it. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the Scotty D kit. They're kind of leading the industry right now in terms of angle kits, so definitely the safe way to go. Yeah, so angle kit, do it. Alrighty guys, up next on the list of kind of like creature comforts or unnecessary items, but will make things a lot easier, I would say, are a handbrake. Now, real quick tip, again, I'm pretty sure I mentioned earlier, if you're going to do the handbrake, make sure you do the handbrake brackets whenever you're doing the welding of the diff, because if not, you won't be able to do it later because of not being able to remove the axle. So, yeah, if you didn't already do the handbrake kind of earlier on, now is a great time for you to do so. By this point, you know, you'll probably already have like faint entries. You should at least have clutch kick entries. And so being able to have the handbrake for entries is going to be really nice, and being able to have it for quick adjustments during tandem is going to be really useful. So yeah, a lot of people say don't depend on a handbrake, and waiting until this time in the process to get one will definitely help with that, in the sense of not relying on it. So yeah, I'd say at this point a handbrake is probably a good thing to put on the car. And last but definitely not least, I'd say the harness bar and a set of harnesses. I mean, up until this point, like I said, once you get a chance to sit in a good racing seat, you're gonna notice that. I mean, you sink into that thing and you're not really going anywhere forward, back, side to side. You gotta pull yourself out of that thing to get out of the car, or even really scooch. So, you know, the harnesses are really there for in case the car rolls, or if you have like kind of a head-on collision, it keeps your body from coming forward. But for the most part, like I said earlier, harnesses are not really necessary until you start getting kind of serious with the car. So like I said, at this point, a harness bar, which man, to be honest, I bought this car with the harness bar, so I don't really know what website is good for them. I can tell you that if you're going to end up doing the full roll cage in the car, which of course will include a harness bar, cagekits.com is a good website to go to for getting the roll cage for the car. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the last one at that point, is harnesses and a harness bar or roll cage. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it in the sense of everything you would need to make a nice, comfortable, usable V6 new edge drift car. Like I said, the very essentials: get that diff welded up, get some coilovers on there, get you a racing seat, start driving. Seat time is king. Drive it. I'm telling you, these chassis, from what I can tell from other people talking to me, because like I said, I've only drifted the new edge, this chassis is not the easiest to drive. All right, it fights you a little bit. I feel like I've kind of reeled it in, which, you know, mind you, wasn't that difficult. But the point is, you're not going to have the easiest chassis to get into drifting with, going with the V6 new edge. You're underpowered. The chassis is very long. They're monster trucks on the stock suspension. There's not much angle, but it is possible. It is enjoyable, and don't let anyone tell you you can't. All right, like I said, guys, that's pretty much everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.